Thank you so much for this very kind introduction, Simon. Let me start by thanking the Global Ethical Finance Initiative team for the opportunity to address such an esteemed gathering. Your organization is doing a lot of great work in mobilizing the financial sector towards the Sustainable Development Goals and preparing the next Global Climate Conference later this year. Ladies and gentlemen, we are facing globally quite a daunting set of challenges. The coronavirus pandemic, climate change and environmental degradation, and the derailing of many countries from their path towards economic and social progress. We have no time to waste on any of these emergencies. We can't tackle one and leave the others for another day. Climate change is not slowing, nor are biodiversity and ecosystem losses. The latest United Nations emissions report says we must reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 50% this decade. That is going to be extremely hard to accomplish. On top of this, the pandemic is proving extremely difficult to tackle. So we can't return to business as usual. We can't forget about sustainability during the COVID-19 recovery. We simply have no time. Our efforts must be green. Our solutions should embrace new technologies. Our path must be inclusive, helping all parts of society and vulnerable communities. Finance has a key role to play. In terms of investments, the EIB Group is the largest MDB globally in the fight against climate change. We help to shape projects from the ground up, providing the finance needed for these projects to grow and have an impact. When it comes to climate and environment, we have clearly taken a commitment to expand our reach and deepen our expertise. In just the past couple of years, we have promised to end financing of traditional fossil fuel energy, align all activities with the Paris Agreement on global warming, invest at least 50% of annual EIB financing in climate action and environmental sustainability by 2025, and support 1 trillion euros of climate and environmental investment in the decade ending in 2030. To support carbon neutrality, the EIB Group developed a Climate Bank roadmap, a 5-year plan to focus more attention on the European Green Deal. A key priority area is to deal with the impact climate change is having right now, especially on the most vulnerable. We intend to support climate adaptation and resilience in the face of the growing threats posed to businesses and communities from rising sea levels, increasing levels of droughts, hurricanes, and forest fires around the world. Another area of focus for us for this year is the just transition. Transformation is tough. It requires time, a very significant reallocation of resources, and huge investments. Some regions or communities today are heavily dependent on the fossil fuel industry for jobs or do not have the capacity to embark into this transition to net zero. It is the role of public banks to find solutions for a fair treatment and provide extra support. Ladies and gentlemen, progress on SDGs has been uneven, and the international community is calling on us to step up our collective efforts to significantly achieve these goals. As resources are scarce, every cent invested in has to unleash impact. At the EIB, we have been tracking the bank's contribution to the SDGs across sectors and mapping specific targets for several years. In 2020, a comprehensive methodology was approved that tracks all our financing in relation to the SDGs. Just to highlight some of our achievements in these areas in 2020, our work provided better social housing for 66,000 households. It gave nearly 30 million people access to safer drinking water and offered electricity to 8.6 million homes. We take our role as market maker very seriously. We will continue to support development and scale up of sustainable finance at a global level by exchanging and disseminating best practices and working with our partners to compare and align initiatives and approaches. We will nudge our partners and markets when we think this is necessary, and we will remain open to leadership by others and being nudged towards doing the right thing. Our close cooperation on joint multilateral development bank initiatives on climate and environment, and our work within the international platform on sustainable finance, particularly in the area of common ground, taxonomy, and disclosures, is particularly illustrative of this commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, public sector finance cannot ensure a green recovery by itself. The increase in sustainable finance that we need critically over the next decade can only come if the private sector gets more involved. And to this end, the landmark EU Taxonomy for Sustainable Finance, adopted last year, is a key milestone. The taxonomy offers the public and private sectors clear, robust definitions of green investments with clear reporting requirements. The taxonomy will increase sustainable investment because it makes sure that green finance goes to green projects. It will avoid so-called greenwashing. It will attract millions more in climate investment. I'm proud to say that the EIB now is contributing to the development of a social taxonomy as well, to make sure we protect all people and societies during the green transition. A key component of the green transition is the development of a capital market that is large enough to support the rising demand for green bonds. The EIB issued the world's first green bond back in 2007, and to date, we have raised over 44 billion euros in climate and sustainability awareness bonds in 19 currencies. We're expanding our coverage in climate, environmental and social sectors to increase the breadth of our investments linked to green bonds. We've expanded beyond renewable energy and energy efficiency to include low-carbon technologies. Likewise, since last year, we expanded our social awareness bonds to include biodiversity and the fight against COVID-19. These bonds are now ensuring financing for government's health programs, hospitals, and labs. The EIB raised a record 10.5 billion euros worth of climate social bonds in 2020 alone, more than doubling our 2019 levels. We also are always trying to work with new partners and clients to increase investment in climate and the economy. This year, we will develop guidelines to support all our counterparts in their goal to meet the Paris commitments. This will ensure not only that our investments help stop global warming and support low-carbon development, but that our clients also take decisive steps to meet the Paris goals. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, it is clear that the climate and environmental crises are speeding up. I've mentioned the dangers of climate change, rising sea levels, droughts, hurricanes, and forest fires around the world. We also can't forget the growing islands of plastics accumulating in our oceans. We must be sure that every euro spent on the recovery protects our climate, environment, and society. Our children are constantly telling us they want to grow up in a world that is environmentally and socially sustainable. So for the next generations and for the breadth of species on Earth, let us not miss this opportunity. Be bold and act now, and be decisive in the fight for climate and environment. I believe this is our last chance to make a real difference. Thank you very much, and back over to you, Simon.